Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is Explanation of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 174 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yang's eyes were fiery hot as he received the scroll full of fire symbols from Xiao Xian's hand. He hesitated for a moment before suddenly asking, "Ancestor, since the Skyfire 3 mysterious change was created by you, you should have also been in possession of a heavenly flame back then, right?" Xiao Xian smiled and nodded when he heard this question. He sighed. "Back then, I, too, possessed 3 types of heavenly flames. However, I blew up the 3 types of heavenly flames after that final battle." Xiao Yang's eyelids involuntarily twitched when he heard this. His heart contained a shock that he could not hide. Xiao Xian was actually forced to the point of exploding the 3 types of heavenly flames. One could imagine just how dangerous that situation was. However, the thing that caused Xiao Yang to feel somewhat uncertain was how Xiao Xian could control 3 types of heavenly flames, given that it was unlikely that he had practiced a chi method like the flame mantra. Haha. The chi method that you practice is indeed very powerful. Although it is not the highest class chi method that I have seen, its growth potential is quite frightening. Relying on swallowing a heavenly flame to obtain strength is undoubtedly walking on the tip of a blade. This kind of chi method is dangerous and overbearing. Xiao Xian smiled and spoke after having understood what Xiao Yang was thinking in his heart. When I controlled 3 types of heavenly flames back then, I was using my strength to forcefully control them. I did not swallow and refine them. Someone who had reached that stage could forcefully suppress even heavenly flames. Xiao Yang nodded. No wonder, Xiao Xian had used the most overbearing method to control the 3 types of heavenly flames. Given his strength back then, it was possible to suppress the 3 types of heavenly flames. The chi method that you practice is most suitable for the Skyfire 3 mysterious change. After swallowing and refining them, you can already use these heavenly flames to the pinnacle. There is not even the slightest resistance. This is something that even the me back then was unable to do. Xiao Xian smiled as he continued. Since you have obtained the complete version of the Skyfire 3 mysterious change, you should study it properly. Try to successfully train and create the clan tattoo before leaving the heavenly tomb. Xiao Yang nodded and did not say much. He turned around and briefly chatted with Zun Er. After which, he sat down and placed the scroll on his brows. He absorbed the large amount of information within it into his mind. This absorption continued for a moment. Xiao Yang slowly opened his eyes and a solemn expression surfaced on his face. Skyfire 3 mysterious change. First change. Second change. Third change. Suddenly, Xiao Yang's hands formed some seals with lightning-like speed. The Skyfire 3 mysterious change was completely activated within a short few seconds. At the same time, the aura within Xiao Yang's body also soared. A searing hot violent do qi swiftly circulated around Xiao Yang's body. Wave after wave of heat slowly seeped out and entered his blood vessels. The flow of blood within his veins suddenly became faster. With his outstanding spiritual perception, Xiao Yang could sense a mysterious energy rapidly shuttling within his blood vessels. Its destination appeared to be his brows. While the mysterious energy within Xiao Yang's body was shuttling around, some natural lines gradually began to appear on Xiao Yang's brows in the outside world. Soon after the first appeared, there seemed to be another line following close behind. A slight sound was suddenly emitted from Xiao Yang's body when the third line appeared, and those mysterious lines that had just appeared gradually disappeared. Xiao Yang's eyes opened when those lines disappeared. He frowned. Some doubt appeared in his eyes. Clearly, he did not understand the reason for his failure. The clan tattoo of the Xiao clan is divided into 9 strokes. You only formed 3 strokes earlier. Xiao Xian by the side spoke in an indifferent manner. The final step after executing the Skyfire 3 mysterious change is to draw the clan tattoo. Although the clan tattoo is always in your body, you need to activate it. Drawing the clan tattoo will require an extremely great amount of do qi and exquisite control. The current you has just experienced a sudden increase in your strength. Clearly, you have yet to reach the stage where you can truly control it at will. The exhaustion from just these 3 strokes is already terrifying. Will anyone dare to activate the clan tattoo when fighting with another? Xiao Yang bitterly laughed. As long as you activate the clan tattoo, you will no longer need to exhaust such an enormous amount of do qi to form the strokes. All you need to do is think about it and you will be able to unleash the clan tattoo. As the saying goes, the start of everything is difficult. This activation of the clan tattoo is the hardest step. Xiao Xian explained with a smile as he waved his hand. Alright, continue. Being able to draw 3 strokes on the first attempt is already quite good. Calm your heart and control your do qi perfectly. Only then will you be able to perfectly draw the 9 strokes. Xiao Yang merely nodded when he heard Xiao Xian's urging. He threw a helpless pair of eyes at Zun Er while she covered her mouth and softly laughed. She returned an expression that suggested she could not do anything to help. Xiao Yang inhaled a deep breath of air. He quickly calmed his emotions and adjusted himself a little. Subsequently, he once again began to form the clan tattoo. Skyfire 3 Mysterious Change. The difficulty of forming the clan tattoo had exceeded Xiao Yang's expectation. He had originally thought that this thing would be easy. However, it was unexpectedly this troublesome. These short few strokes possessed an incredibly harsh requirement in terms of do-chi control. At this moment, Xiao Yang finally understood just how tragic it was for the Xiao clan compared to an ancient clan like the Jiyu clan, where the clan tattoo was bestowed by the elders of the clan. Fortunately, there was still plenty of time in the heavenly tomb. Although the progress was a little slow, there would ultimately be a day when he fully succeeded. Time swiftly flowed by while Xiao Yang was bitterly attempting to draw the clan tattoo. This kind of training might be frustrating, but it did not appearing boring. At times, Xiao Yang would remember Jiyu Qingyang and the rest who were outside of the tomb. However, he did not find even the slightest bit of time to be lazy in front of Xiao Xian's strict monitoring. Half a year passed by in a flash amid this bitter and dull training. A skinny figure sat in the hall that was filled with an ancient atmosphere. His eyes were tightly shut as the aura of his body appeared vast and majestic. At this moment, many strange purple-red lines appeared to be forming because of an invisible pen. Upon closer observation, the 8th stroke showed signs of appearing as a perfect line. From the appearance, a clan tattoo that was emitting a mysterious energy had mostly taken shape. Xiao Xian was watching the 8th line form of the clan tattoo on Xiao Yang's brows. He slowly nodded. Being able to form 8 strokes of the clan tattoo within half a year was a speed that could be considered among the top even in the Xiao clan back then. Moreover, Xiao Yang had begun to draw the clan tattoo just after his strength soared. His speed caused the difficulty to significantly rise. Xiao Xian had just nodded when he saw a purple-red line slowly start to form on Xiao Yang's brows. Xiao Xian was immediately stunned upon seeing this line. Some surprise quickly flashed across his eyes. This little fellow is thinking of using the momentum to draw the 9th stroke? While Xiao Xian felt surprised in his heart, the mysterious line on Xiao Yang's brow was slowly formed in a very stable manner. It did not pause along the way. At a glance, it was filled with a natural beauty. This little fellow really surprises people. That final line was completed at an extremely slow speed after Xiao Xian exclaimed in surprise. When the final stroke landed, a mysterious purple-red clan tattoo instantly appeared on Xiao Yang's forehead. The blood flowing within Xiao Yang's body suddenly sped up the moment the clan tattoo was formed. A strange voice was slowly transmitted through his blood vessels and body. Success. A joy flashed over Xiao Xian's eyes when he heard the humming sound of the blood vessels. Who? Xiao Yang's tightly shut eyes were suddenly opened when the clan tattoo was formed. A purple-red light surged into his eyes. He gradually got used to the light a moment later, after which, the clan tattoo between his brows slowly disappeared under his skin with just a thought. It has finally been successfully activated. Xiao Yang gave a long sigh. Although the clan tattoo on his brows had already disappeared, he could sense a mysterious energy light suspended under his brows. By being in possession of this clan tattoo, he would no longer need to activate the Skyfire 3 Mysterious Change in the future. With just a thought, this clan tattoo would become a perfect secret technique. Xiao Yang's body trembled as he stood up. He heard a clear sound being emitted from his bones, causing him to smile. Half a year of training had not only allowed him to successfully form the clan tattoo, but his control over the do-chi in his body once again reached a peak. The current him could truly be counted as Do-Zun at the peak of the 8th star. Counting the time, 3 years should also be up. Xiao Yang slowly raised his eyes as he sensed the enormous difference between the current him and the person who had entered the heavenly tomb 3 years ago. He looked outside the ancient hall. Perhaps, it was time to return. There are still around 5 days left before 3 years is up. This heavenly tomb trip will come to an end. Zun by the side smiled and spoke as she studied the expression of contemplation on Xiao Yang's face. Xiao Yang could not resist sighing softly when he heard this. He did not expect 3 years to pass in the blink of an eye. Although only half a year had passed in the outside world, they had trained bitterly for 3 years. Although the training was bitter and dull, it was fortunate that its effects were unexpectedly good. Xiao Yang had only just advanced to a 6-star Do-Zun after entering the heavenly tomb back then. However, he had reached the peak of an 8-star Do-Zun. Adding his many techniques and the clan tattoo, he would be able to fight even a 9-star elite Do-Zun. The 3 years had allowed Xiao Yang to experience a drastic transformation. Haha, it is also time to leave. Time really flies. Xiao Xian by the side also laughed. His voice contained a faint sadness. The heavenly tomb might enable him to live in another form, but it also left him with an endless loneliness. He was like a criminal trapped in a world void of liveliness. Ancestor, will you still continue to exist in this manner in the future? Xiao Yang was silent for a moment before inquiring. Xiao Xian softly sighed. He nodded and replied, "This is the price for surviving in another form. We cannot leave the heavenly tomb. Once we step out of here, we will instantly vanish. Hence, we can only survive in this world in this manner and endure the loneliness. Hearing the faint desolation in Xiao Xian's words, Xiao Yang's heart felt extremely terrible. Xiao Yang and Zun had only stayed in this place for 3 years, and they found that it was difficult to stay longer, yet Xiao Xian had been stuck in this place for hundreds or even thousands of times longer than them. Is there any other way for you to be revived? Xiao Yang slowly asked. Haha, I am aware that you are an alchemist. Some high-tier medicinal pills can indeed revive a person on the brink of death. However, I am a soul that died a countless of years ago. Moreover, this soul is incomplete. Xiao Xian smiled and appeared quite open-minded. He patted Xiao Yang's shoulder and said, Little fellow, if you feel terrible in your heart, you should try your best to break through to the Do-Di class. If you can reach that level, you might think of a way to help me escape. However, it is pointless for the current you to think about. The reason that I have endured the loneliness and remained here is not because I wish to be revived. Instead, I had hoped to be able to pass down the bloodline strength of the Xiao clan. I did not want the bloodline strength of the Xiao clan to be buried in this dark heavenly tomb with me. Xiao Yang inhaled a deep breath of air and suppressed the churning emotions in his heart. He was aware that what Xiao Xian was saying was true. Even if Xiao Yang really possessed a method to free him, he did not possess the ability to do so. Ancestor, please rest assured. I will definitely return to the heavenly tomb again. However, I will have broken through to the Doshan class the next time I return. Xiao Yang replied in a deep voice. Although it would be extremely difficult to reach the Doshan class, he would do his best no matter what. Xiao Xian smiled in a pleased manner as he studied Xiao Yang's grave face. He suddenly beckoned with his hand, and Xiao Yang's storage ring shook. A palm-sized light cluster drifted out and stopped in front of Xiao Xian. This is... Xiao Yang was slightly startled when he saw the thing that floated out. He could see a fist-sized piece of jade suspended in the light cluster. A mysterious aura was vaguely emitted from it. This is the insect queen of the ancient devouring insect. This insect queen has also reached a level equivalent to the Ban Sheng class of humans, but it is currently in hibernation. Otherwise, you would not have tunneled through the energy wall so easily. Xiao Xian smiled and informed them. Ban Sheng class insect queen? Xiao Yang's face twitched when he heard these words. His hand quickly became a little numb. It was really the case of the ignorant being fearless. If he had known that this thing was that terrifying, he would not have grabbed it out of curiosity. No wonder the ancient devouring insects had become crazy after we exited the crystal wall. It was because Xiao Yang Jiji had brought the insect queen out. Zuna curiously glanced at the jade object and laughed. If you were allowed to take this thing out and it woke up, the insect queen would quietly enter your body and secretly devour your Do Qi. Unless an elite Do Sheng intervened, it would be impossible to find it within your body, Xiao Xian explained with a smile. A cold sweat immediately appeared on Xiao Yang's forehead when he heard this. He had already experienced this once. Even though the current him was no longer his past self, he still did not wish to touch these damn things. Fortunately, Ancestor has sharp eyes. Otherwise, I would have ended up harmed by this damn devouring insect queen. Xiao Yang spoke with some fear lingering in his heart. Haha, this insect queen is indeed troublesome. However, it is the best material to make an ancient insect emperor cloth, Xiao Xian smiled. He started to explain when he saw Xiao Yang's uncertain eyes. The ancient insect emperor cloth is a kind of special defensive Do skill. After refinement, it will be able to take on an armor shape that covers one's body. This thing was most popular during the ancient times. Based on my expectations, if this insect is used to refine the ancient insect emperor cloth, it will likely be able to endure an attack by an elite Ban Sheng without being destroyed. Oh! Xiao Yang's eyes brightened when he heard that this unassuming thing could actually endure the attack of an elite Ban Sheng. His body already possessed the Dragon Phoenix ancient armor. If this ancient insect emperor cloth was added to it, he should be able to retain his little life even if he were to endure a blow from an elite Do Sheng, right? You can rest assured. Leave the refinement of this thing to me. I will hand the ancient insect emperor cloth to you before you leave, Xiao Xian smiled and said. The current you should make full use of the time to do another thing. What thing? Xiao Yang asked in a startled manner. To finish off the 2 members of the Hun clan. After suffering such a great loss, one cannot just forget about it, right? A member of the Xiao clan is not magnanimous. Xiao Xian spoke with a faint smile. Hun Ya and Hun Li, Xiao Yang's eyes shrank after listening to his ancestor. He replied, how can I forget about those 2? However, it is just that I am unaware of where they have hidden to at this moment. Xiao Yang's current strength had soared. If he were to face Hun Ya and Hun Li, he would be able to finish the both of them off without having to summon the Sky Demon puppet. The only living individuals on the heavenly tomb were the few of them. This place was filled with danger. Even if those 2 were to die in this place, it was likely that no one would know. It was really the best location for murder. As long as they are still in the heavenly tomb, they will not be able to escape my senses. Xiao Xian gave a slight grin. He gently waved his hand. The space in front of him fluctuated as a crack line slowly formed. Xiao Yang shook his head. The corner of his mouth was lifted into a dense cold smile. He did not say anything else as he strode forward and entered the spatial crack. Zun'er followed close behind. Xiao Xian smiled when he saw the two of them vanish into the spatial crack. This could be considered Xiao Yang's final training before leaving. A faint energy fog lingered in the air of this endless land. Energy bodies would occasionally drift by. They were extremely silent, appearing just like ghosts. A figure wearing a silver armor was seated in the air above a messy rock ruin. Powerful energy spread from its body. Clearly, this figure was an energy body that had reached the 9-star level. At this moment, this energy body's eyes were cautiously sweeping the area below. Although not a single person was present, his many years of instincts caused him to feel a hint of danger. The energy body focused for a long time, but it was to no avail. But this 9-star energy body had just relaxed when the space around him suddenly froze. 2 black chains penetrated empty space with lightning-like speed. They were accompanied by a ringing sound as they rapidly penetrated this energy body. Subsequently, a black figure appeared in the empty space in a flash and grabbed the 9-star energy core. These energy bodies possess a great energy, but they do not have the slightest fighting strength. That black figure randomly put the energy core into his storage ring. He raised his head and revealed a ghastly young face. It was surprisingly Han Ya from back then. There are quite a number of powerful energy bodies in the deepest parts of the heavenly tomb. However, that fellow is too frightening. It is best to stay away from him. Another figure appeared soon after. A face covered in frightening scars revealed itself to be Han Li. It is unexpected that there is an expert from the Xiao clan in this heavenly tomb. That bastard Xiao Yang really has quite good luck. Han Ya's eyes were shady. He continued in a dense voice, "We are leaving the heavenly tomb soon. Remember to use the spatial jade token to leave once we get out. If any news spreads, the Jiyu clan will definitely hold us back. As for Xiao Yang, Chen once we have the opportunity in the future, I will naturally lead some people to eliminate the Falling Star Pavilion along with her." Han Li slowly nodded. A rich killing desire filled both of his eyes. They had been subdued by Xiao Yang ever since they had entered the heavenly tomb. How could these two proud fellows accept this outcome? There is no need to wait until next time. Would it not be a lot easier to resolve things now? You too, aren't I right? However, a mysterious ripple suddenly appeared when Han Li nodded. A soft laughter slowly spread as 2 figures stepped onto empty space. They appeared with smiling faces while Han Ya and Han Li appeared gloomy. It says Do Sheng here, but a couple of paragraphs before it talked about breaking through to the Do Di class before he could DP anything to help here. Correct, but he can't be saying I will have broken through to the Do Di class when there has not been a Do Di for more than 1,000 years. I see. Could we add an at least to the to let the reader know that he will attempt for more? Right now, it seems weird to mention Do Di and then only say he will come as Do Sheng. Xiao Yang. Han Ya's and Han Li's expressions slowly darkened when they saw the 2 figures steadily walk out of the void. Xiao Yang gently stretched his body. He and Zun'er were suspended in the air. His eyes were looking at the Han duo below in a slightly teasing manner as he said, "It has been 2 years since we last met. Looks like the both of you have not been doing very well." Han Ya's expression was gloomy. His eyes suddenly swept around him, but his heart quietly sighed in relief after failing to find that mysterious expert from back then. He coldly laughed, "Xiao Yang, you should not be overly arrogant. Even if I cannot get rid of you in the heavenly tomb, you will sooner or later be a homeless stray once we leave this place. Since that is the case, I should get the both of you to remain here forever. I think that given the strength of the both of you, you should be able to become 8-star energy bodies, right?" Xiao Yang faintly smiled. However, his words caused a chill to rise within Han Ya and Han Li's bodies. 8-star energy bodies were basically lowly existences in the 3rd level of the heavenly tomb. If the 2 of them were to become that existence, it would be much better to simply die. You really think too highly of yourself. Han Ya's duo narrowed their eyes. Their tones were dark and sinister. After having exchanged blows the last time, they understood that they were unable to easily defeat Xiao Yang and Zun'er. However, Xiao Yang's group did not have the ability to stop them if they wished to escape. Is that so? Xiao Yang grinned and softly wondered aloud. Just what qualifications do you, trash from the declined Xiao clan, have to act arrogantly in front of us? If you hadn't been relying on a woman's strength, you would have already died many times over. Han Li coldly ridiculed. The murderous desire in his eyes appeared extremely dense. If he wasn't afraid of Zun'er, he would have already attacked without control and completely finished off Xiao Yang. Do not be impulsive. They naturally possess some confidence to have the courage to appear. Let's withdraw first. Han Ya appeared a lot calmer. Although only Xiao Yang and Zun'er had appeared at this moment, he could vaguely feel an uneasiness. He grabbed Hun Li and spoke in a deep voice. Hun Li hesitated after hearing what Hun Huaye had said. He could only unwillingly nod as he chillingly said, "Xiao Yang, you better remember this. The next time we meet will definitely be the time when your falling star pavilion is annihilated." Hun Li and Hun Huaye flew back after saying those words. Their eyes cautiously remained on Xiao Yang and Zun Er. The dou qi within their bodies began to rapidly circulate. "I'm afraid that whether or not you can leave is not up to the two of you," Xiao Yang grinned and softly commented when he saw Hun Huaye and Hun Li pulling back. "Leave it to me." Xiao Yang's body disappeared in a ghost-like fashion after his final word sounded. An enchanting smile surfaced on Zun Er's face as she watched Xiao Yang disappear. The current Xiao Yang had already reached the peak of an 8-star Dozun. This kind of level was stronger than the Hun duo. Hence, the present Xiao Yang was sufficient to deal with those two. "You are asking to die." Hun Huaye and Hun Li sensed something the moment Xiao Yang's body disappeared. A fierce glint flickered in Hun Li's eyes. His body shook abruptly as he clenched his fist, and a cold black fog surged out. It ruthlessly smashed toward the empty space in front of him. A somewhat illusory body slowly appeared when Hun Li's fist punched at the air. A long arm was extended and gently grabbed Hun Li's fist, which was covered in black fog. A frightening flame spluttered out of Xiao Yang's palm when the fist and palm collided. The dark cold fog on Hun Li's fist emitted a sizzling sound as it was completely vaporized. "You have improved so little during these 2 years. How disappointing." Xiao Yang's hand was just like a rock. It did not move even a little regardless of how Hun Li struggled. Xiao Yang slowly shook his head as he watched Hun Li's expression change. Xiao Yang shook his arm and strangely bypassed Hun Li's fist before smashing the other party's chest with lightning-like speed. A frightening force suddenly erupted like a volcano that had been brewed for a long time upon contact. Bang! The fierce force made Hun Li's chest quiver. Having suffered such a heavy blow, Hun Li's expression had turned pale in an instant. A mouthful of crimson blood was wildly spat from his mouth. His body flew back like a kite with a broken string. He finally rubbed against the ground and formed a 100-meter gully before slowly coming to a stop. 8-star Dozun? Shock suddenly surged onto Hun Huaye's face as he glanced at Hun Li in the gully, who was struggling to climb to his feet. Both of his eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at Xiao Yang. The aura that had erupted from Xiao Yang earlier had reached the 8th star, and the strength of that aura was much stronger than his. How is this possible? Hun Huaye's mouth twitched. His heart involuntarily let out a roar. During these short 2 years, the two of them had failed to even increase their strength by 1 star, yet Xiao Yang had soared from a 6-star Dozun to the 8th star. Hun Huaye was really unable to accept this kind of vast difference. "It is your turn." Xiao Yang's eyes landed on the shocked-looking Hun Huaye after finishing off Hun Li with a fast and powerful momentum. He laughed in a faint voice. Hun Huaye clenched his fist when he saw Xiao Yang look over. His pupils became sinister as they stared at Xiao Yang before both of his hands formed numerous seals. With the change of these seals, a mysterious clan tattoo swiftly appeared on his brow. "Although I am unaware of why your strength has soared, you are still unqualified to retain me." Hun Huaye's strength rapidly soared with the appearance of the clan tattoo. The sharp, miserable cry of spirits continued to be emitted from his body. Xiao Yang's strength might have soared to its current level, but it was not enough to cause Hun Huaye to panic. Earlier, Hun Li was at a disadvantage because he was careless. He had suffered a fatal blow before he could even activate his clan tattoo. Otherwise, Xiao Yang would not have been able to defeat Hun Li this quickly. Hence, Hun Huaye believed that as long as he was a little more careful, it would not be simple for Xiao Yang to retain him. Hun Huaye had no intention of remaining behind to engage in a bitter fight with Xiao Yang despite having summoned the clan tattoo. There was still an even more powerful Zun Er watching menacingly from the side. Once she intervened, Hun Huaye knew that he would certainly die. He took advantage of the great rise in his dou qi. His body turned, and he transformed into a ray of light that hurried far away. "Hun Li, you can rest assured that I will help you take revenge 100 times over for this." Hun Huaye clenched his teeth and spoke while his body was wildly rushing away. However, Hun Huaye's voice had just escaped his mouth when his swift figure suddenly paused. He lifted his head and his eyes looked a short distance away in a hateful manner. A figure flapping a pair of crystal-clear bone wings was standing in the air. That mocking face surprisingly belonged to Xiao Yang. Seeing the speed of Xiao Yang, which could not be detected, Hun Huaye's heart also sank, but he did not hesitate much. His foot stepped on empty air and the dou qi within his body erupted without being held back. It carried an extremely powerful energy pressure as it rushed towards Xiao Yang. There was little change in Xiao Yang's face when he saw Hun Huaye risking it all. His body did not retreat. He instead took a step forward. His eyes were calm as he watched that swiftly enlarging energy-light figure. "Xiao Yang, die." Hun Huaye felt a slight joy in his heart when he saw that Xiao Yang was too arrogant to dodge. Having activated his clan tattoo, Even an expert Dozun at the peak of the 8th star would not dare to clash head-on with him. Xiao Yang was undoubtedly suicidal. Han Ya was extremely swift and fierce. In a flash, he had appeared in front of Xiao Yang. A wild and violent wind pressed on Xiao Yang robes until they fluttered. His right hand was clenched into a fist. The mighty Do Qi in his body gathered as he ruthlessly threw out a punch. Bang! After Han Ya's punch was thrown, the space in front of him collapsed. A 5 feet large black spatial line quickly expanded towards Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang, this is the fate of boasting to be more than you are capable of. You should firmly remember it in your next life. A punch that contained a terrifying wind swiftly smashed towards Xiao Yang. Regardless of how fast Xiao Yang was, he would not be able to dodge this attack. Hence, a dense cold smile surfaced on Han Ya's face. A faint ripple finally rose within Xiao Yang's old well-like dark black eyes. A ridiculing smile was lifted on his face as a purple-red light flickered on his brows. Finally, a mysterious clan tattoo slowly appeared. Xiao Clan's clan tattoo? Han Ya's heart abruptly trembled the moment this clan tattoo appeared. An unease quietly spread from deep within his heart. It's over. Xiao Yang smiled as he studied the dense face in front of him, which was in close proximity. He clenched his right fist, and a turbulent Do Qi suddenly blasted forth. Bang! Both of the fists suddenly collided. A frighteningly loud sound exploded like thunder. Many 10-foot large lines began to spread swiftly on the ground like a spider web. A black figure suddenly flew out of the energy storm that raged in the sky. The figure heavily crashed onto the ground. The large rocks in its path were blasted into dust amid many rumbling sounds. A mouthful of fresh blood mixed with organ fragments was spat out of Han Ya's mouth as he lay within the thick rock dust. He sensed that his life was quickly disappearing from his body. A horror and regret finally surged into his eyes. A skinny figure was slowly appearing in the sky. Indifferent eyes glanced at Han Ya below, who was on his deathbed. His head shook as he stepped through the empty air as he slowly walked to that beautiful figure in the distance. Relax, there will be even more members of the Han clan who will accompany you in the future. Han Ya's eyes gradually succumbed to the darkness as an indifferent voice was softly transmitted to his ears. The space within a silent ancient hall fluctuated slightly. A man and a woman slowly appeared before landing in the hall. They were Xiao Yang and Zun who had killed Han Li and Han Ya. The fight this time around was truly a quick one. Xiao Yang had gone all out during both of his attacks. He had used a swift and ferocious tactic to kill Han Li followed by Han Ya. Han Ya's duo were 8-star Dozuns. If they were to join hands, it was likely that even an ordinary 9-star Dozun would have difficulty finishing off the both of them. However, these two had been caught off guard, leaving them at a disadvantage. One of them was immediately killed by Xiao Yang. Otherwise, if the two of them truly risked everything, Xiao Yang would have needed to spend a ton of effort to deal with them. Xiao Yang and Zun stayed a couple of days outside after killing Han Ya and Han Li. Only then did they return to this ancient hall. You have returned. Xiao Yang and Zun had just appeared in the large hall when Xiao Shen's figure gradually appeared in front of them. He did not inquire about the trip's result. He clenched his hand and a pale black glow appeared in it. He randomly tossed it to Xiao Yang. Take it. This is the ancient insect emperor cloth. This thing can be worn in your body, and it is able to turn into ordinary clothes at any time. Although this requires Do Qi to continue supporting it, it can constantly defend against any attacks. Xiao Yang extended his hand and received that cluster of black light. He gently held it and a smooth silk-like feeling appeared in his hand. It was extremely comfortable. Drip a drop of essence blood into it and you will be able to store it in your body. Xiao Shen smiled and reminded him. Xiao Yang did as he was told when he heard Xiao Shen's reminder. He dripped a drop of essence blood on the black light and the cloth immediately wiggled. It appeared like liquid as it moved over Xiao Yang's hand and merged with his palm. Once that black light merged with Xiao Yang's body, he immediately sensed a strange energy spreading over his skin like a web. It covered every corner of his body. His heart shook and a faint black light surged out of his skin. It swiftly formed inconspicuous black clothes. Is this the ancient insect emperor cloth? It is indeed mysterious. Xiao Yang's palm slowly rubbed the black clothes on his body. The soft material gave Xiao Yang an extremely tough feeling. He involuntarily praised the cloth. Ha, this ancient insect emperor cloth is something that is a must-have for many experts, especially an insect emperor cloth that has been refined from an insect queen. Its value will not be any less than a Tian-class Do skill, and it is a rare object that one can only obtain through luck. After all, a powerful existence like the insect queen cannot simply be obtained just because one wishes to. Xiao Shen fondled his beard and laughed. Xiao Yang nodded. Although this ancient insect emperor cloth required Do Qi to maintain, this exhaustion was not much of a burden for Xiao Yang since he possessed a quasi-Tian-class Qi method. Hence, this insect emperor cloth could continuously remain on his body. Therefore, any unexpected sneak attack could be resolved by it. It would really reduce the amount of trouble he would face. After counting the days, you should be leaving the heavenly tomb today. Xiao Xian gave a slight smile as he watched Xiao Yang play with the insect emperor cloth. He was quiet for a moment before he suddenly spoke again. Xiao Yang's eyes shifted away from the insect emperor cloth as he slowly nodded. Xiao Yang softly sighed, but he did not say anything. In an instant, the atmosphere in the large hall appeared a little solemn. You will ultimately have to leave. You are the only hope for the Xiao clan. Xiao Xian grinned and shook his head. He patted Xiao Yang's shoulder and laughed. Little fellow, I will be waiting for you to return to the heavenly tomb. At that time, I wish to see if you will disappoint me. Ancestor, please rest assured. Xiao Yang will not have any face to come and see you before I reach the Dosheng class. Xiao Yang spoke in a deep voice. Xiao Xian revealed a pleased expression as he slowly nodded. Zun by the side watched the two conversing. She suddenly interrupted a long time later. Xiao Yang GGE, time's up. The two, who were chatting happily, stopped when they heard Zun words. Xiao Yang was quiet for a moment before cupping his hands to Xiao Xian before giving him a low bow. Little fellow. The future of the Xiao clan depends on you. Xiao Xian smiled and softly stated. Xiao Yang heavily nodded. He was just about to speak when he suddenly sensed the surrounding space fluctuate. A suction force that could not be resisted was transmitted from the surrounding space. It appeared to be forcefully absorbing the space itself. Ancestor, take care. Xiao Yang will definitely find a way to let you escape. Upon sensing the powerful suction force, Xiao Yang was aware that 3 years was up. The heavenly tomb was forcefully expelling everyone. Xiao Yang's voice had just sounded when a large gap was suddenly torn open. A suction force erupted and fiercely swallowed Xiao Yang and Zun. Xiao Xian smiled in a pleased manner as he watched the spot where Xiao Yang and Zun disappeared. After which, he softly sighed and muttered, Ancestors of the Xiao clan, you must definitely bless this little fellow. The destruction or revival of the Xiao clan completely relies on him. Numerous figures were suspended in the sky above a lush green mountain range. Their eyes focused on the distorted space. Elder Tong Xian, the 3-year time limit should be up today, right? A figure at a certain spot in the sky asked an elder in grayish-brown robes. Elder Tong Xian nodded indifferently. His eyes watched the distorted space. His heart was similarly a little anxious. He was clearly aware of the danger within the heavenly tomb. If anything untoward happened to those few young individuals from the Jiyu clan, the Jiyu clan would really suffer a great loss. I wonder who will have experienced the greatest improvement this time. An elder of the Jiyu clan fondled his beard and laughed. This will depend on their own fate. While the many figures in the air were chatting with each other, a black spatial mark suddenly cracked open. A few people rushed out in a flash. They are from the Lei clan. It seems that they did not suffer much. The surrounding figures slowly nodded when they saw the two figures who had first appeared. Moreover, the auras of the two were clearly a lot stronger compared to when they had entered the heavenly tomb half a year ago. It seemed that they had made significant gains in the heavenly tomb. Those from the Yarrow clan have exited, and the Yang clan. After those two from the Lei clan, others surfaced from the space one after another. Most of the auras of these people were a lot stronger than before they had entered the heavenly tomb, especially the case for one of the members of the Shu clan. He had advanced from a 7-star Do Zun to the 8th star. This caused many to feel some envy. Another spatial crack appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Immediately, two figures drifted out under the focus of many eyes. They suddenly fell to the ground the moment they appeared. Some elders from the Jiyu clan hurriedly unleashed a gentle force when they saw this. The gentle force lifted the two bodies into the air. At this moment, they discovered that the two figures were completely void of life. They are Hun Ya and Hun Li from the Hun clan. The both of them have died in the heavenly tomb. The expressions of quite a number of people changed when they recognized the bodies. At the same time, Elder Tong Xian frowned and commented in a deep voice. All the members of the Jiyu clan faced each other as they studied the two corpses in the sky. They were quietly gloating in their hearts. The Jiyu clan was already at odds with the Hun clan. Their hearts would inevitably possess such thoughts when they saw that those two had unluckily died in the heavenly tomb. Hu Xian and the others, who had entered the heavenly tomb with the two of them, were stunned as they looked at the corpses of Hun Ya and Hun Li. They pondered some thoughts. The heavenly tomb might be dangerous, but everyone was clearly aware of where they should venture and where they should avoid. However, why did Hun Ya and Hun Li die together? It is likely that this matter isn't so simple, Hu Xian softly muttered. What do you mean? Hu Ji's thin eyebrows twitched as she asked a question. These two were planning on attacking Xiao Yang the moment they entered the heavenly tomb. Before all of us gathered, they had exchanged blows with Xiao Yang and Zun. Hu Xian quietly stated. Do you think that Xiao Yang and Zun killed the two of them? If the two were to join hands, even a 9-star Dozun would not be able to stop them from escaping. With Xianyang's strength, I'm afraid, Huiji disagreed. Who knows, these two people are not nice characters anyway. It doesn't matter if they die, Huxian shrugged his shoulders. His heart suddenly shook and his eyes turned to the space behind him. The space at that spot was slowly torn as 4 powerful figures slowly walked out. Everyone swept their eyes over these figures and immediately sighed in relief. Those 4 figures belonged to Jiyu Qingyang's group. Jiyu Qingyang's group sighed together as they walked out of the spatial crack line and looked at the surrounding lush green mountains. 3 years of bitter training was really too unbearable. That's Hun Ya and Hun Li? The eyes of Jiyu Qingyang's group suddenly paused on the 2 unmoving figures suspended in the sky. They were immediately startled and exclaimed aloud. Dead. Jiyu Qingyang knit his brows and softly commented. Who could be so ruthless? He actually killed these 2 ruthless characters. Jiyu Hua cried out in surprise. The 4 of them blinked. They faced each other. A moment later, they ended up crying out the same thing. Xiao Yang. Elder Xiao Xian did not attack back then. Given his character, he definitely felt that attacking these 2 was disdainful. Moreover, these 2 people are extremely cunning. It is impossible for them to provoke those energy bodies that they cannot afford to provoke. From this, the only possible answer is that they were killed by their enemies. However, the only ones in the heavenly tomb who possess the ability to kill them are the 4 of us if we attack together. However, we did not. Looking at it this way, Ji Yuzhen muttered. It can only be Xiao Yang and Zun Er. If Hun Ya and Hun Li joined hands, they would be able to fight with a 9-star expert. Zun Er might be strong, but it would not be difficult for these 2 to flee. Jiyu Qingyang frowned as he thought about the situation. While the group was facing each other, the space in front suddenly rippled. Immediately, a man and a woman stepped on empty air and slowly appeared in front of all the eyes in the area. That is Xiao Yang. What a powerful aura. No wonder. Jiyu Qingyang's group's eyes narrowed when the 2 figures appeared. They muttered among themselves. This video will end here.